In the world of daily fantasy sports, there is no competition that is bigger than the football world championship. 2 point. Dude, you can't cut me off like that. I was about to make art.
Dude,
I was about to get people subs.
One mistake.
I tried to save you, man. I tried to save you. Like you can only I can only let you stumble over your words like that until I cut you off, right?
That's how short my leash is?
I mean,
what are all these ones?
Today I wish I had a shorter leash, my friend.
Did Joe do some kind of poll in the chat that we don't know about?
You don't see all the ones in the chat? Lots of ones in the chat.
What did you say, Leone?
One's in the chat for rage. People want us to rage.
Choose in the chat for Peter to redo his cold open.
Hey, all right, countdown going up.
What? I don't even know what's going on. Are we?
It's a cold open. Go, buddy. Don't fuck it up a second time. Joe, do the countdown again. Do it again because he screwed it up. Do it again.
In the world of daily fantasy sports, there is no contest greater, no prize pool larger than the Fantasy Football World Championships. $2.5 million on the line. Only 1 in 200 people are lucky enough to compete for it. Just one of them happens to be on this show. His name is Michael Leone, and today he will have zero chance at $2.5 million. Welcome to the Tilt Space. Let's go. Oh, and now we're back. Now I think Leone wanted to say something.
I don't, I don't really have anything. Oh, this way you said I have a 0% chance. Listen, buddy, if Denzel Mims and Cooper Kupp combine for 75 points in the last 9 minutes of this game, you're gonna regret saying I didn't have a chance.
Oh my God, you are gonna clip that intro and never let me hear the end of it.
Man,
I mean, 75 points is doable.
So let's we're gonna get sloppy very quickly. So let's just set the table here. Leone in the Fantasy Football World Championship. We had 3 lineups collectively in the big $1,500 millionaire. Leone, quickly tell the people your lineup and how tilting the end of that Houston Indiana game was.
Yeah, I was really happy with the ownership I got on my Watson double stack. I played Watson, Cooks, Akins, bringing it back with Jonathan Taylor. And Watson did his thing, but they settled for some red zone field goals. And of course, Cooks doesn't score a touchdown. Chad Hansen scores. Kiki Kuti scores. So that's tilting. But then I've got a chance at overtime. Taylor's just short of the bonus. This can really speed up quickly with a Watson touchdown. Kiki Kuti in the last 30 seconds of the game fumbles at the 3-yard line. There go my chances. I don't think I would have won anyways, but that kind of synced up with Tony Pollard breaking like 6 tackles for a 40-yard touchdown who I didn't play, just to like totally put the dagger in me. But yeah, I mean, this was a Sklansky Bucks team. I had really low ownerships across the board. I made my emergency late swap. If you weren't in good position, you had to swap off Kamara. Like only donkeys didn't swap off Kamara, who weren't in like a commanding position. If you weren't in a commanding position, you didn't swap off Kamara. You just don't have the stones to play a competition like this. So I was glad I at least swapped off Kamara, but it too little too late. It didn't really matter at that point.
That's a good segue to Ask Joe. He was building and sweating lineups with our line movement CEO here, Nevs. If you guys see him, he had 4 lineups. Joe, let the people know what you guys got going on with this sweat.
Yeah, obviously in hindsight, it's good to know that Kamara was going to be 75% in this. So a team that was like, I think we were in 20th or so before the afternoon. We had a Tom Brady stack. Just it's kind of rough overall to watch basically 2 touchdowns from Tom Brady get stopped at the fucking 1-yard line.
Yeah.
So that's rough. Got pretty thin with most of our tight end decisions. None of them really worked out, honestly, outside of the Kelsey team. We have a lot of PMR right now with some Mahomes stuff, but I don't think it's going to be good enough, to be completely honest. So sweating basically this team in 30th with Kamara and Sanders, and also there's a Patrick Mahomes team that's pretty wide open, pretty far back, but we have some outs with a 1% Greg Ward, 2% Hardman, and I don't know. I still don't think that there's going to be enough juice left in it. It was an interesting slate overall. I'll say this, Leone, and you can kind of tell me if you think I'm wrong, but there was some stuff here ownership-wise in the final that was a lot different than ownership across the industry this week. So we see some people late swapping, obviously, like Nuke ended up being like 30% in this. I didn't see that coming. There was a couple other things that I thought were much lower than I thought they would be overall. And then just no one swapped off of Kamara. So, yeah, I don't know. Thoughts on ownership after the second game started up? Did you think that there were some guys that basically just ended up staying where you thought they'd be, some guys higher, some guys lower? I was pretty baffled by a few of them for sure.
Yeah. So one, I'll say Davis Maddock mushed Brady in your favor. He was really mocking Brady early, and then he throws for 390 and 2. So he at least helped you get him there. 2, on the ownership front, yeah, it was tough, man, especially with late news. Like my initial reaction to Pollard was people aren't going to react enough. And then I talked to Wiggins and Overzet and people, and they're like, people are going to play jam Pollard. And they were right. They were 100% right. Pollard ends up 32% owned despite the late, the news coming pretty late. That was really high. I faded Pollard. I think I was too low on Pollard. I think I might have ended up fading him regardless. But as far as the late ownership, I was surprised at Kyler being 30. Like Nuke, I could sort of see on late swap stuff, but Kyler at QB 30, I was really that. I did this morning when the news came. I kind of thought, Akers and Jonathan Taylor are going to get squeezed because people aren't going to get off Kamara and they're going to play Pollard. So but those guys, and same with Hurts. Like I thought Hurts was going to get squeezed in our stuff, but not to the, I didn't think it was going to happen to the extent it did. Akers comes in at 13. Hurts comes in at what, like 5? If I knew Hurts was going to be 5, I don't know if I would have played him because like I'm super happy where Watson came in at, but it would have been like he would have been on my short list if I knew he was going to be 5, and I didn't think he would be that low. I just thought he wouldn't be the highest owned.
Hey Leone, how many carries did Rico Dowdle come in with today?
Yeah, so I fucked up the Tony Pollard thing. I thought they would still kind of split a little bit, and I'm guessing it was 0. By the way, you're asking me that with a dumbass smirk on your face.
I don't even know. He might have had 7 carries for all I know.
Dude, Tony Pollard was a good play. Like
Hardman TD, let's fucking take that.
There was so many good running back plays, though. I was like, if Pollard's gonna be, that game got sped up too. Like we talk about mini correlations, like playing them, but like also fading them. Pollard Ayuk went from you were kind of happy you didn't have them to they smashed in a heartbeat. So like you really saw, the correlation at work and like how things can get sped up at the end of games and whatnot. So, but I mean, I was definitely wrong on Pollard regardless. Like if I would have played him, I don't know, but I projected him too low regardless. Rico Dotto, Pollard had 12 carries and Rico had 4. So, I mean, but Pollard crushed in the passing game, which is where I was wrong.
The thing that's hard for me about the Pollard stuff, like I thought he was going to be
rush touchdown. Sorry.
Yeah, and hard.
Oh no, you're fine. I thought he would be popular, and it's really hard to judge in some of our contests. We know everyone in our contest, there's going to be no dead money. Everyone's going to be on top of it. They're going to be changing their lineups accordingly. I think he came in, was it 14% in the small milli? I want to say. So like huge edge if you're jamming Pollard
Right.
there. But in our contest, I think where Leone, you're probably coming in too of like, if Pollard's 50% owned, like I don't want to touch him there. And that probably impacts how you're feeling about him as well.
Yeah, exactly. Like I thought we had him as like the third or fourth best running back value. You know, I think we only had Henry and Kamara higher. So it's not like I had him too low, but I didn't have him bad. If I thought he was going to be 14% in what I played, I would have played him easily. And then I would have eaten Ayuk chalk. Like I would have correlated that. And I mean, he ran I mean, it's hard. Like he kind of ran well and he kind of didn't at the same time. So it kind of like netted out. He probably ended up about where he should be, maybe a little bit positive. Like there was a quick turnover early and he got a short tutty. And then he runs for a touchdown running the clock out where he broke like 4 tackles, which kudos to him. Like he broke 4 tackles. We think he's like pretty talented dude. But yeah, ownership matters so much. There were so many good running back plays, you know. Like I was really happy to play Swift at 5, like Swift at 5% or Pollard at 32. Like what would you play, Peter?
Swift every time. And especially if I can get the 8 points on the touchdown that turned into a fumble at the goal line, then I even like it more.
So like, I mean, it is what it is. I don't fault anyone for playing Pollard. Like 32 was probably like around break even, right? Like I thought he might be 40, so I faded him.
Man,
If I thought he was going to be 20, I would have played him, and he kind of ended up in between.
this is probably the biggest differences I've seen across contest buy-ins, like maybe ever. Like I'm just looking at, like Fantasy Labs has a tool that you can look at it based on the buy-ins, but you can also do is just sort by GPP grade, which gives you an idea of which ones were significantly higher at higher stakes and at lower stakes. So we have like Alvin Kamara, he was 40% in the $10 Millionaire Maker. He was 75% in the World Championship. Tony Pollard was 12% in the $10 Million Maker, 32% in the live final. Sanders 20% to 30. Who else? Brandon Ayuk was 29. So that was one that was basically a little bit under. So that was interesting. Lynn Bowden of 13% in the $10, 33%. So it's there's some big differences here. Kyler Murray 9% in the $10, 30% in the World Championship. So like the ownership was literally everywhere with some of these guys with late swap equity, I guess, kind of getting steamed up a little bit in the live final. But then you just look at Kamara, 74%. That's just wild to me.
I said to Wiggins, I mean, I was half joking, but I said, you know, Kamara is going to be 80%, right? You know, like I like you though. I thought people would swap off him more.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he would start there and get down to like 60, but
think the way that, because we've seen other contests we're in where like the swap swing is huge to where almost the pendulum swings back and it was like over swapped. But with this, do you think the way the live final or whatever price structure works, where it's like a very consistent ladder that like it's anchors in people's heads? Like I'm just trying to figure out. No, I know it's still top heavy, but like I'm just trying to figure out why people would be less likely to swap in the live final than other similarly sized contests.
Maybe in their heads, it's like they're cashing no matter what. So they're kind of sticking with the best play. Like, I don't know. But like if you finish in 200th place, it's 20K, right? If you finish in 200th place, last place, dead last. If you finish in 61st place, it's 30K. So your risk is really mitigated in swapping, right? You know, your risk in swapping is that if you swap off him and you would have won with him, which anyone who's thinking of swapping is probably not in that position. So maybe that factored into why people didn't swap, but I don't think it should have. I know like Wiggins played Kamara and he was in a weird spot where he had this really neutral start and a ton of PMR. So like, I definitely get that if you're in that position. But in my spot, it was like I had a decent start, but I was clearly dead to any Kamara teams.
Joe, we got people in the chat asking about our 1,500 millionaire teams. We basically have one team that is going to cash in there. If you want to pull that up, we can break that down. So this was a Lamar Jackson team we built here. And the team you're going to see on the screen, actually, we did have a swap. This team, who was it? It was Kamara and Traquan, was it?
Yep.
Yeah, Kamara and Traquan. So we had the good start, you know, with Lamar and Taylor Pollard here. This was the one spot where we all did get in Pollard, but we still didn't feel good about kind of our win equity. There were so many plays that smashed early that we still wanted to pivot off of the Kamara chalk. We ended up kind of splitting the difference. Went with Robert Woods and Perriman here, and that Woods pivot is looking really nice. I mean, how much is he outscoring Kamara by right now? Decent amount,
like
right?
10,
Yeah.
maybe more than 10.
So right now we are in 282nd place for 3,500, which is a little over a min cash or a 2x here. So definitely salvaging some of our buy-in here, which is nice. And this is a pretty flat payout structure, so it's hard to imagine we could climb that much. But man, like another Woods TD or a little bang bang play from Perriman could get things a little more interesting here.
Man, this Chiefs game, dude, like, is not over. There's a lot of time left in this game. Like, why is this game moving so much slower than the other ones, right? Like, this is insane. Like, one of the things that I wanted to ask you,
slow.
Leone, was like, you see all this ownership move to guys like Nuke and like some of these other guys, but man, like if you just look at like Mahomes 17%, Tyreek drops all the way to 18, Kelsey 23, like that, a lot of those had to have been swaps, right? Like I think maybe people just thought Kyler would be lower than he ended up being. Like that's the only thing that really makes sense to me at this point.
Yeah, I guess if people, well, I don't know though, because there were some sites that had the ownership on Tyreek a little lower.
Okay.
And I wonder, if that $800 or so up from Hopkins, up from Kelsey, just kind of, it just was tough on lineup construction.
Started
for
building,
people.
yeah.
Because I was starting to come around, like my one, I don't know if I'd say regret. I liked my team, but I did think of like, I was really stuck on playing Brandon Cooks because that was kind of the thesis behind my Watson players. I thought Watson would be too low and I thought Cooks would be too low. But as I was constructing, I was like, oh, if I was willing to get off Cooks to either Kuti or Hansen, like I can take AJ Brown to Tyreek Hill and maybe play that. But I think the Mahomes ownership, I'm not kicking myself for not playing Mahomes when he's 17.
Sure.
Like I think he's a good play there. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not kicking myself. Tyreek's a little bit more like maybe I would have made an effort, but yeah, it was tough. The Arizona game just carried more than I expected. Hopkins and Kyler both being around 30, and even Christian Kirk, I'm looking at it, is at 13%. I would have thought he was like a 1%er.
Were you guys shocked at the Kelsey and Hill ownership in some of these smaller contests? Because I just thought the chalk build was everyone was going to use the Saints value to get in Kelsey and Hill and just game stack probably the best game on the slate. And then that didn't end up happening. Like Kelsey and Hill came in like pretty low.
I don't think people could build teams that they liked with them, man. Like you just look at just think about like the casuals like throwing these lottery tickets. Like Kelsey's 15% owned. They probably started building and like, oh, he's way too expensive. Like I can't even build a team that's reasonable at that point, man. You had to get weird to triple stack that.
Arizona just had a sick fake punt for a first down. I think two things maybe happen. I think one is it's so easy to punt at tight end, right? Like I think people at this point in the season have become maybe to a fault, like comfortable just punting tight end. So I think that probably impacted the Kelsey stuff a little bit. But I also think, especially when Pollard became available, that the balanced builds, which are usually contrarian, actually ended up being a little chalkier because you've got Pollard 5,200, Kamara 7,400. I mean, that's literally like 15% of all teams. And if you've got a chalk Ayuk in there, you can't. I think people weren't willing to play multiple cheap Saints, and that's sort of what gave you Kelsey and Tyreek. Was not just one cheap Saint; it was multiple guys, and people built a little bit more balanced.
Yeah, I do think that is probably what happened. I'm just surprised with Pollard opening up. I just thought it was like, okay, everyone's getting funneled to these studs and duds team here, and it just didn't end up happening, which is interesting. But I guess oh, go ahead.
Well, I just don't know if you guys like. I was surprised in the final that Fournette ended up at 27% on the Pollard news. I thought he was going to come down to like 15 and like actually be an okay play.
Mm-hmm.
I had Fournette and forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. I had Leonard Fournette in one of my lineups this morning, and then I rearranged it and put Pollard in once that opened up. Because you fall in love with a build type, you need the cheaper running back. There wasn't a lot of good cheap running back plays, but I was happy to find the 600 to get up to Pollard there. But yeah, I'm surprised. I wonder if that just happens. Like people get anchored to their builds and they don't feel like changing off of it.
It also makes you think though, what was Fournette gonna be?
Yeah.
Mhm.
He's
What
probably
what
45,
e
50.
either that or everyone came off Akers and Jonathan Taylor, because Akins and Jonathan Taylor ended up a combined
Whoa.
like 30% in the final, which was pretty low.
Well, Montgomery was 2%, man, in that same range, right? So like none of those guys were used.
Yeah.
I
Not
want to
surprised by that.
I want to mention this comment here because people are talking about how Chipotle Bro is having a massive day today across a couple contests. And he says, how is Chipotle always on the right play? He goes with Tannehill, with Brown, and Davis. So this is a psychological phenomenon that happens with good GPP players. We remember the days where they smash. Chipotle has had lots of weeks where it doesn't hit, where he's fading chalk, where you guys, if Chipotle Attic had a tilt space stream, you guys would say, how did you fade the big dog? Chipotle, how did you fade the big dog? And then he binks and you're like, oh, well, about that. That's what GPP players do. They fade. And when they're right, like when the big dog doesn't get there, and boy, man, did people tell us the big dog was going to get there, not realizing he needed to go to for 40 to get there today. So yes, shout out to Chipotle Addict, but I promise you, he has taken his lumps this season, and the stars are aligning for him. Definitely a great GPP player.
That's a really good point. I mean, it's just, I mean, it's difficult to be a GPP player. There are lots of weeks, and I was saying to you guys in our chat and Discord before, I can't imagine like chasing this live final. Like I'm on pins and needles with my one team that's like guaranteed to profit just because I happen to get lucky and win the last week. But if you're chasing, even if you've got a lot of entries, like if one or two things goes wrong and you're not on it, it's like that's your whole season. Like, I mean, you GPP guy, you got to be ready and willing to just totally brick a slate. I mean, something we've talked about before, but you really do. One stack I want to bring up, and I don't remember, one of the sharp players was on it. I don't know if it was you. I think it was Utica, or maybe it was Chipotle. It was Chipotle Addict.
Matt Ryan.
So yeah. So what I was about Matt Ryan is, one, well, it was a bad matchup, but one, he was incredibly cheap. I mean, 5,400 is about as cheap as we get playable quarterbacks.
Mhm.
You know, Hurts was 5,100 last week. And, you know, so one, he was incredibly cheap. Two, he was incredibly low owned. Three, we talk about this all the time. Like, part of the reason you stack is the correlation. And when Matt Ryan goes off, his pass catchers go off. And I'm looking at a stack for Chipotle where he's got Ridley 35 points, Hayden Hurst 12 points for 3.3K at tight end, and Gage 18 points for 47 at receiver. Like, three guys hit. And you could have really onslaughted that game, right? Like, if you play, well, it's cherry picking to say if you play the right Tampa Bay guys, but you know, you play Fournette coming back, you play one of the pass catchers, you know, that's a really good thing. But I think I think it's advantageous to play guys where when the stack hits, when the quarterback hits, the whole stack hits. And I kind of felt that way with Watson. I ran a little bad on Cooks, but like literally any combination you played with Watson other than Cooks was good. Like Akins gets to 10 at 2.8K. Kuti and Hansen score touchdowns. Even David Johnson goes freaking 10 catches plus over the 100-yard bonus. So I like those stacks that everyone hits.
I think too, like that Tampa Bay Atlanta game, Leone, like there was like such a large argument for there being so many pass attempts on both sides, which was going to mean more plays. Like it was a clear pass funnel for both sides of the ball. Like I think people sometimes avoid Tampa Bay just because it's hard to figure out who's going to basically have that type of production, like from like the pass catchers. It could be anyone, but like the target share, I think, was a little bit more condensed than people realized on this one. I wasn't really on Antonio Brown. I know we played him on one of our tilt space teams and it got there. But still, like one of these, I think we mentioned it before we went live, one of these bombs that basically gets stopped at the 1 yard line that Fournette runs in, one of those goes in. All the Brady teams are right up there with Matt Ryan. I guess the difference is that these guys were a little bit more expensive, right? Outside of I guess Ridley, but a bring back with Ridley on like basically like a 3-man stack of Brady, like that, I still think that was pretty sharp. Super low in this tournament as well. Evans 4%, Godwin 8%, Ridley 7%, Brady 9%, like all sub 10% owned. Yeah, so I thought that was really solid actually.
That's a smart play for sure.
One thing that trips me up on the Matt Ryan play is because like I'm always hunting for these leverage spots. You know, I have like in my double spy lineup worked out very well. I faded the big dog Tannehill double stack. Like I'm trying to fade like the concrete chalk there. And one reason I don't end up on guys like Matt Ryan a lot is because Tom Brady was going to be unowned as well. And I preferred Tom Brady more. And so I did, with us, we had that Brady lineup. I played some Godwin type stuff, but I think I get caught up in that, or I miss these spots where I'm like, oh, well, I can't leverage anything with Matt Ryan. Why would I play that? So I guess like my question is, how do you identify those good low owned plays, even if you're not getting necessarily like direct leverage on anything?
Well,
I mean,
go ahead, Leone, and then I have some thoughts.
Well, I didn't play Matt Ryan, so it's hard, a little bit hard. I guess the only thing I'd say is, Matt Ryan was a fifth the ownership of Tom Brady, and he was $1,000 cheaper. So it kind of let you. And if you were playing Ryan too, Ridley's expensive, but both Gage and Hurst weren't. So I think you just kind of get on a different build. Like when you play Ryan, you played the freaking game, man. I mean, I don't have a lot there though. I didn't play him, so it's hard for me to say like why it was good leverage.
I think Pete, like there's two things that would probably lead you to Brady over Ryan. Like number one, if you're playing Brady, you're at least double stacking him most likely, so you don't have to make that like clear decision on okay, who's your bring back. It's easier to decide, okay, if I have the salary, it's Calvin Ridley. If I don't have the salary, it's someone like Gage or taking care of tight end. So I think the decision's easier on the bring back for Atlanta. And also like if we thought that Fournette was going to be owned, like Brady's a little bit more of direct leverage there. So that's at least the way that I thought about it. I never really considered Matt Ryan. I just liked it better with bringbacks because I think it's just easier to decide. Like it's so tough to decide which Tampa Bay guy to bring it back with. I think that would have been really hard to do correctly.
Yeah, and we've seen that all year with teams like the Bucks, I would say the Colts, maybe to a lesser extent the Raiders, where so many guys get involved that it makes it hard to know how to stack them. But I think that definitely is definitely a good point to remember. What was I going to say here? Oh, people are talking about how the Jets are going to beat the Rams here. So Sean McVay doing his best to really solidify that fake sharp moniker, man. I mean, how do you lose to Adam Gase?
Dude, that's rough. At home, right? I mean, this is a game in LA. Like
16.5 point favorites to a team that's trying to get the first overall pick.
When's that has to be one of the biggest upsets the last 5 years, right? On spread. Am I being too dramatic? I mean, it's got to be up there.
There was the Bills Vikings game like a year or two ago. That was like, wasn't that like an 18-point spread? I remember it was at home for the Vikings.
It was huge.
Yeah.
It was the Bills got slaughtered the first 2 weeks of the season. It was in Minnesota, and the Bills blew the Vikings out. So suck it, Joe.
I'm not a Vikings fan.
Yes, you are. Don't play this Arizona bullshit with me.
Oh my god.
There's all this stuff about how Sean McVay is like such a football guy. Like he has this, bombshell girlfriend that he never hangs out with because he's just always like in the lab with football. Sean, if you're watching, spend some more time with your girlfriend. Maybe clear your head. Maybe try some new things because whatever you're doing, it's not working out. Okay. That's the heart.
Do you think? Sometimes I think we judge coaches though, like McVay, a little bit too harshly on game day stuff because that's like all we see is the fourth downs they do or not go for and things like that. Do you think? And I've kind of flipped course on this after being like super hard on the Bills and Sean McDermott to start, even though he's great at that stuff now. But do you think sometimes we're too hard on coaches for what we see just because we kind of, I don't know, like he's clearly a really good offensive coach.
Well, this is my thing on it, right? It's everyone is pushing back against a narrative, right? Like, remember the clip that went viral where he like could remember every single play from a game and he had this encyclopedic knowledge and everyone's like, he's this genius. He's this next great Bill Belichick. So I think people are pushing back against that. Where a counterexample would be like John Gruden, right? Where people bagged on him. They're like, this is the worst coaching contract ever. And then it's like, well, guys really like playing for this dude. And he's like a great rah-rah coach. And he gets the locker room going. Like same with Pete Carroll. Yeah. So I think if it wasn't for that established narrative, people would give McVay more slack. But I think we're pissed.
That's fair. That's definitely fair. And the Gruden one is super interesting because I've thought about that before too, about both Gruden and who's it? Mayock, who's the GM there? And they've done some egregious things the last few years. And they're still like fine, which just makes you think about like how small that line is between being good and bad in the NFL, and also how sometimes we probably don't just credit the players enough because Gruden, he seems pretty clearly like he's kind of a donkey, and their GM seems like a donkey. Like they made some really bad picks, early bad picks, and here they are, fighting for a playoff spot.
I mean, the nut combo, right, is like a rah-rah coach like Gruden or Pete Carroll that has the humility to outsource so many other decisions, right? And that's
Sean McDermott.
I mean, is that like I don't know enough about Sean McDermott. Does he outsource a lot of that decision making?
I think I don't know if he doesn't, he's been very adaptable to listening to outside advice to make his decisions because he's changed a ton in a lot of regards. And the players love playing for. I hated McDermott after year one. I wanted him gone because my thought process on coaches was kind of like they don't change their stripes, right? They are who they are. If they're not going for it on fourth down, if they're run heavy, that's who they are. It's not changing. And I feel like the Bills have had like two huge outliers with that, with both McDermott is now like the best at being both pass aggressive and going for it on fourth down, or at least top five. And then like they've also had the outlier in Josh Allen where, guys don't go from inaccurate to accurate. And then he goes from 58 completion percentage to 69 in a year.
The real play is just Cliff Kingsbury, right? If we're talking about cool younger coaches, like, did you need anything besides this picture at the draft? The guy's just sitting there with his screens, chilling out, like in the Arizona sun. Like this is if you think Sean McVay is cool, like you're missing the boat, man. Cliff Kingsbury.
No, that is so true. Like, I mean, it's a bit at this point, but I read, that book about the air raid last off season, and they draft Kyler, and you're just like, oh my God, like this is it, man. This is going to change the NFL. And then this dude comes in and throws like 3-yard bubble screens and kicks field goals every possession down the field. And Hal Mummy, who's still living, is rolling around in his grave. And it's just like, what are we doing here, Cliff? Like I was promised vertical attacks. And same thing happened in the XFL. I'm here watching, the Dallas Renegades with the living Hal Mummy running, God bless his soul, like 4-yard checkdowns to Donald Parham. It's like, what are we doing here, guys? Like, is the air raid dead? Leave it to us to have like one of the best slates of the year, millions of dollars on the line, and we're doing like referendums on like coaching styles and offenses.
I mean, that.
All right, let's bring it back. That
44-yard touchdown to DeAndre is not great. Not touchdown. Sorry, I can't talk. I've been drinking. I don't know. I have a question for
There was a long pass down the field. Well, my question was like if you guys had feedback on the team that I played, because it's always good to get feedback from sharp people. And just kind of what
you want to pull it up, Joe?
Yeah, it's up right
now. I don't
want
to push you guys in a direction, so I just kind of I've before you get feedback, I'll just say I was shooting some ideas around Saturday night, Sunday morning, and I think I was a little too chalky, and I'm kind of glad I ended up de-chalkifying at least. Like this is more of a me team than what I almost played.
Did you have any swaps here?
I swapped Kamara and Traquan to
Cup and Mims.
To Cup and Mims, and DeAndre Hopkins did just score a touchdown from Kyler.
Is Wiggins charging at all?
I mean, he's an 80th, but he's got Jared Cook, who's actually not that owned, and he does have Kamara, but like Nuke is going nuts. Back to back, like huge games for Nuke after sort of dying there for a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Let's go back to your team. I mean, man, the fact that like no one was willing to play Deshaun Watson, like this happens so often. I don't really understand it. Do you think people just saw Indy defense and didn't want to go near it? Like, I don't know. Did you consider a bring back outside of just Taylor, or was he the only guy you really considered on the bring back side?
I thought about Pittman. I wasn't going to play Hilton, like a little bit more pricey and kind of chalky. I wasn't going to play Hilton. I definitely thought about Pittman. My theory on Pittman was kind of like, he has the same ceiling as Hilton. We just haven't seen it yet. And that's like maybe a reach. I looked at Pascal for half a second and then saw that he had 2 targets each of the last 2 weeks and was like, absolutely not a chance that I'm playing him. And of course he scores 2 touchdowns, but so I didn't ever seriously consider him. So really it was just Pittman or Taylor for me.
Like your construction though, like wouldn't really have worked with the Pollard thing anyway. You would have had to kind of blow this up, right? To like get in Pollard because you were playing Taylor and Swift. It sounds like for sure, right? So like your Kamara slot
I got on
was your late swap flexibility.
I got on the Swift AJ Brown stuff a little bit late, I
Okay.
guess. So I was open on Swift. I mean, the thing that maybe I did do wrong, and maybe Peter can speak to this, was like, should I have made more of an effort to maybe get a KC guy back on my Kamara Traquan start? And I don't think I had to correlate Swift, but I kind of saw AJ Brown not being owned. And I don't know, the AJ Brown play is interesting to me where he's got this huge big play upside, but also at his price tag, 7,600, we also know he doesn't get the target upside of other guys. Like, was that a bad play?
The thing about you were so loaded on the 1 p.m. games, and I think that was going to be a little unique based on the chalk we projected in the late games. And then you always had those swaps available to you, like, and you had lots of swaps available, like with Akers ownership plummeting, kind of with how things were shaking out. That was available to you. You ended up doing Rams wide receiver with the Jets wide receiver there. So you always had that flexibility. So I don't think it was bad to not have like a chief built into that because you were always playing for like the 1 p.m. smash. And again, we mentioned it, you were so close to it. Like, I mean, if that game goes to overtime, if Kiki catches that, if DeAndre Swift gets in the end zone instead of fumbling it there, I mean, just a few little things and you're like really humming.
Can we switch to Corey Davis and AJ Brown's stat lines?
Right.
I will say I do think it impacted me too a little bit that last week I played so late swap heavy with Devontae late, and then I saw Kelsey and Derrick Henry come in like pretty tame ownership wise. That probably affected me a little bit to kind of say, these guys early might go under owned if people are going to do the same thing with Kamara and the Philly Arizona game, having the late swap one way or the other.
You think the Kamara thing, like, I guess my biggest Kamara question, this is probably a little bit results based, but like, should we have considered the Taysom impact of it more than we did? Like, we all just were like, oh, Breeze is back, like, give him his normal role. He's underpriced. Michael Thomas is out. Get the target share up. Dude, like, should we have scaled it back at all? Or is that just like, is what it is? Like, Taysom's been around, right? It's not like he's, I mean, but I don't know. Just him taking away that touchdown, everyone's freaking out.
But he's done that all year long. And two, with Jameis out on COVID before the game, you're kind of thinking that stuff maybe doesn't happen as much. So I think that's overthought. It seems like Kamara ran really bad. I will say like Levitan was kind of saying to me, which helped me get off playing 3 Saints, which I started with. And instead I started with 2 instead of 3. It's not like I got way off it, but I got off the Manny chalk was, Breeze has struggled at times this year. He's getting older. First game back from injury. It's not exactly a great matchup efficiency wise. Like, it's a good matchup in theory, pace wise. Both teams, you get in a shootout, but it's not exactly a great efficiency matchup. So, like, I think maybe that was a little bit of a consideration. But, dude, there was no way I wasn't playing lineups that at least gave me a shot at Kamara. He was that good of a play. He was the best play projection wise that we've had since Kamara back in like week 2 or 3. And there were other projection systems that had him even higher than we did. So, well, I think it was a really good idea to at least give yourself the option to play Kamara.
Mm-hmm.
And we had this a couple weeks ago with the Dalvin Cook too, right? Where he was playing in the 4 p.m. He was projected to be major chalk. In that I don't think maybe people don't realize how big of an advantage that is to slot the mega chalk in your lineup that's late. And you get the information of, do I front run a good lineup and eat the chalk, or am I behind and I pivot off of it? Like having that, like we talk a lot about, fading Derrick Henry, If Derrick Henry and Kamara were swapped, I'm just going to speak for most of us. I would assume we would have all had Henry built into our lineups with knowing that we could have made that decision after how the 1 p.m. games went.
Yeah, I mean, I know for me last week in particular, when we had the trio of Kelsey, Devontae Adams, and Kamara, that's 100% correct. I think this week, Where I was at on Henry was he was so expensive, and I was like, I don't know if Henry kills me. But if Kamara was early, would I have played Kamara is a really interesting question.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean,
And I don't
today,
have a good answer to it. I think I would have faded, but it's easy for me to say that now, not having had to actually think about it.
Probably just would have been like you would have ended on more Tyreek or something like that, right? Like another expensive guy in the later game who ended up being kind of squeezed, like 18%. I would assume most people swapped off of him in that range.
Yeah, like I don't think I would have played a 70% Kamara in a winner, not a winner take all, but in a really top heavy contest. Looks like the Eagles, Alshon Jeffrey with a long catch coming back from the dead are charging here. Great for football, right, Peter? Jalen Hurts, great for football. Love to see
no,
it.
you man, you love that play because you get so excited when an old makes a play. You just
Love it
absolutely
so
love
much.
He's like Fitz, yes, but where are all the T.Y. Hilton slappies this week? I haven't heard from them. You know,
DVP.
no, I was told he crushes against Houston. I will say, I am surprised if there was ever going to be a week that I was going to play T.Y. Hilton, it was going to be this week. I kept thinking his ownership would get higher because I'm like, wait, he's 5,500. He's like getting a ton of targets. And now he has the same matchup where everyone loves that narrative. And then no one really played him today.
Yeah, he was probably fine, right? What did he come in
I thought
at?
he was fine. Yeah.
He was pretty low,
mean,
I think. Let me see if I can even find one in the final at least.
I mean, if he comes in at like more like 10%, I'm probably like thinking about that as a comeback on the Watson stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's just Taylor was such a great play. It was hard to
Dude,
get off of that.
And I mean, when the Pollard stuff came, it's kind of like Taylor's going to get less because no one's coming off Kamara. That game was that game slowed down was really kind of what hurt me. I think there were maybe there ended up being 6 possessions in the second half, but it
TY
slowed
was
down.
18%
18
in the final.
in the final.
Yeah.
Yeah. I assume he was probably lower in most other
yeah,
stuff.
had
too.
to. I think people just like saw the price and they're like, okay, he's done well the last couple of weeks. Like, time to get off.
Yeah.
People think that way now. It's insane.
It also, we should also just give, I mean, Deshaun Watson, man, like he just gets like he could have had 45 today. You know, he loses all of his wide receivers. The game script slows down, like drop touchdowns. Like the dude just overcomes every situation.
O-line is terrible. Oh my God, Le'Veon Bell scores on
Is it a
Oh,
Russian
the
TD?
olds, Leone, the
option.
olds.
Also, I was wrong. He was much higher owned in the $10, 25% in $10.
Oh, okay.
So people did play Hilton. This was I was a little bit worried about on CH. I thought about Wiggins played CH, and the ownership was so good that I think it was a good play. But like some of these backfield situations have been tough to know one week to the next what it's going to be. You know what I mean? Like CH rests with COVID, literally doesn't play a snap. Then he plays a season high in snaps, and now we've got Le'Veon Bell scoring goal line touchdowns. Like
I was looking at his lineup, and I'm excited to watch his review tomorrow. And who am I to question Andrew Wiggins? But I was wondering, like, can you find the money to get up to DeAndre Swift? And I would be curious to hear his thought. I think he was 500 more, 400 more, DeAndre Swift, and maybe his lineup just didn't allow for it. But it's like it seems like Swift is like what you wanted out of Clyde Edwards-Helaire as far as role, although maybe he was thinking he was getting leverage on the chalkier chief pieces in the process.
Yeah, I think that's what he was thinking, was that he was going to get leverage on the chief pieces, which I get. Like, I mean, CHF 4% is a good play if you think there's any chance he repeats. Last week's workload was amazing. He just ran. He was at 2 yards per carry and didn't score a touchdown. Like, he ran really bad. He ran the opposite of Leonard Fournette, who scores 2 1-yard touchdowns this week. The Dobbins play too almost got there for Wiggins. Wiggins played a little more contrarian, honestly, than I thought he was going to.
Was there any late swaps here? Was there conversation about late swaps here? Because like the plays that he has in the afternoon, Kyler 30, Nuke 30, Kamara 74. I mean, then he does have some lower owned pieces like Cook and Clyde Edwards-Helaire along the way. He was so open, right? So maybe he just thought that he had so much, like, I mean, he didn't really know exactly if these games go crazy, he still might be okay. Or what was it? I mean, maybe he didn't think Kamara would be 74%. I don't know. I had no idea
I'd
where
say
he
two
was.
things. One, I don't think any. I think all of us kind of thought after swaps, Kamara would be lower
40?
than that. I thought he'd be
Like,
mega chalky, but I didn't think he'd be 74.
not me either.
But he had a lot open, and it was like, if Dobbins runs one more in, right? Like he's pretty good. And the Pollard TD happened, I think, after the lock at 405, like the Pollard touchdown. Because at that point, like Pollard and Dobbins are like almost the same, right? And it's kind of like no harm, no foul there.
AU kind of got there late too, right? Didn't he like have I think a good chunk of his points were like right before swaps. Like there was like another big play or something.
He got there late. But neither of us thought Kyler Nuke was gonna be 30 each.
Right.
We were kind of thinking with the way things happened with the Saints values that Mahomes was gonna be the top owned quarterback. And like we thought Kyler Mahomes would be flipped and Nuke and Tyreek would be flipped, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's just some wrong guesses there on ownership.
Someone asked if we are rooting for overtime here in Cardinals, Philadelphia. I don't even know what we're rooting for anymore across all of our lineups, separate portfolios. What do you guys need?
So Dink is pointing out to me, Brandon Adams right now is in first place with a Kyler double right now.
Yeah.
Did he bring it? And he didn't bring it back.
No.
No.
He has,
and he's got
Kirk and Hopkins.
Oh my God. I'm kind of tilting seeing this Kyler double with like a chalky Fournette and a chalky Pollard, like both kind of sucking out.
And I'm rooting for Brandon. I mean, the guy's basically living out on the street these days. Has just had such a rough go of it of life. I mean, if this guy can just catch one break, I mean, it would be so nice.
If anyone needs this. But Dink points out to me the guy in third who's chasing him played Durham Smythe.
Wow.
What? Did Karain build a lineup here?
And he's 1.5% owned, which by my math means 3 people play Durham Smythe.
Dude, and the thing is you didn't even get Durham Smythe at 2,500. He's 3K.
Dude, he has.
I get it.
This guy played Chase Edmonds. And he locked Pollard in the flex.
This guy's out here building like he's drunk, throwing lineups into the $3 play action on a Saturday night.
Dude, the Cowboys D though, 1.5%. That actually projected well for us, and we I guess they got the Lamb bullshit return.
I was
so
gonna
like,
say,
what
I'm
it is.
shocked he didn't have the Lamb Cowboys onside kick return double dip correlation.
Dude, I can't.
Wow.
I can't.
Holka, how you doing over there, buddy?
I just, dude, this kind of stuff pisses me off. So this is the guy I'm pretty sure that got like 4 seats in the mega queue, right? He was like really high up there. What was it last week? You know what I'm talking about, Leone? It was like the top of the mega queue last week. There was like, I'm pretty sure this is him.
I think
he had like 3 seats.
He's in 6th place too.
But he locked Trubisky last week with like 5 teams.
8 seats.
I think he got like 4 or 5 of them last week in the mega queue because he locked Trubisky on like 4 teams. I could be wrong.
He's got 8 seats. Oh no, this is why Durham Smythe was 1.5% owned, guys, because he played him fucking 3 times. No, he played him twice. So somebody else. Oh wow, we get a Goddard touchdown from Jalen. Is that Jalen Hurts' 5th touchdown? I can't believe Hurts goes from the chalkiest quarterback on the slate to the lowest owned, and he has 5 fucking touchdowns. Oh, they said it was incomplete. My bad.
Dude,
was it incomplete?
Dude, I can't, dude. He has another team. He's got Fournette in the flex. He's got Allen Robinson in the flex. He's got Tony Pollard in the flex. Dude, he's got Terry McLaurin in the flex. He's got Allen Robinson again in the flex. He's got Dalvin Cook in the flex with Kamara in the running back slot. We need to end the show.
Dude, Joe, when you're so good, you don't have to swap. It doesn't
matter, right? Like he never even probably took a second thought of it. That's pro.
Dude. Wow.
I think he burned. I'm not kidding. Guy has 8 seats. I think he burned 7 flexes in the 1 p.m. I'm not kidding.
Seats 7 flexes.
And he's got a 3rd place finish and a 6th place finish right now.
Better to be lucky than good, Joe Holka.
Good fucking God. Dalvin Cook at 3%. That was kind of sharp.
Oh my goodness.
Can't handle it.
What did Cook come in at?
3.5.
I think we can
Damn,
all
that's good.
agree that the whistle does in fact go woo. No? All right.
What are you
No one
talking
wants.
about?
That's his handle. It's the whistle goes woo. That's his handle.
Oh, wow, that was really good.
Thank you. I mean, I just needed a little something from you guys. The chat's going wild. I can literally see them all standing up, clapping that. And I just get nothing for. I literally looked at my Discord and I was like, "Did they freeze on me?" And I'm like, "Oh no, they're just giving me nothing."
I'm staring at these teams, man. Like, what goes through your mind when you do something like this? Is he building on his cell phone? I know someone that does that. He wins a lot of money too.
Maybe.
Thank you, chat. Thank you. One's in the chat for a sick whistle joke.
Kyler's stack gets it done. Kyler's up to 38 and Nuke's at 34. Wow. Big game for Hopkins.
I mean, we're talking about Jalen Hurts, but man, Kyler's at 37 right now too. Like, both of those guys were like sick plays and like they should have been owned. I mean, Kyler obviously bumps all the way to 30.
Was owned,
30,
so,
yeah.
I mean, 30. I'll take my 5% Watson and my Sklansky bucks over the 30% Kyler. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. Well, Holmes is the one that's kind of lagging behind a little bit here, which is not ideal.
I want to see like a sketch where like the people from DraftKings, remember when they used to do those old like they'd bring someone a check who won like $1 million to their home and they're like, Mr. Leone, here's a $2.5 million check, but you had to have played a 30% owned Kyler Murray, and he just slams the door on them.
Your money's no good here.
I only want Skolansky bucks.
You take your money somewhere else.
Imagine the equity with 8 seats.
Mr. Potter.
And he gets 4 or 5 of them in a mega queue. So I would imagine he's one of the few that's not buried in this contest. And you're just like, nah, I'm good. I don't need to put the most expensive late guy in the flex. Doesn't matter.
I'm feeling like my George Bailey moment. Like, you guys watch It's a Wonderful Life?
I watch it every week. You act like it's like a weekly show. You guys watch that show? It's a Wonderful Life that's, been around for 75 years.
Holka, have you seen It's a Wonderful Life?
I have no idea what the fuck you guys are talking about.
Oh my.
Hey, wait, I was making a joke about like Leone acting as if no one knew what It's a Wonderful Life was, but Holka, have you never even heard the words It's a Wonderful Life?
I mean,
It's
maybe,
like
I don't know. No idea what you're talking about.
It's the most famous Christmas movie of all time.
Okay, sure. If you like shitty movies.
You haven't seen it, buddy.
Clearly,
Clarence
it's
the
not that
Angel?
good, man. I'd like to think that I have pretty good taste in movies.
Well, I'm George Bailey turning down Potter's money right now with this 30% on Kyler.
Next
I'm
week,
so
Tilt
like
Space is canceled. We're doing a live screening of It's a Wonderful Life with Joe Holka.
this guy's gonna take 6th and 3rd.
The chat has never heard of it. Sounds like an old person movie. It is old,
like,
Rick.
Yeah, maybe you guys are
you
old.
haven't heard of
You guys
it,
are just the
it's like-
olds.
It's one of the most quintessential. I'm not saying it's like great. I'm not watching it every night, but like you need to know what It's a Wonderful Life is.
Jimmy Stewart.
Maybe you don't, Pete. Maybe you don't need to know what it is.
I mean, if you don't celebrate Christmas, like I'll give you an out. But if you celebrate Christmas, you should have seen It's a Wonderful
What about
Life.
Gone with the Wind, Joe? Casablanca? I mean, where are we at here?
I mean, I just have no take. I don't know. Maybe that's bad.
No Humphrey Bogart? You didn't watch Casablanca and Humphrey Bogart?
You don't have to have a take about everything. I don't have to have strong feelings about everything.
So is that a no?
I have much stronger feelings about this guy that's about to take
No.
6th and 3rd than whatever you guys are talking about. Like, it's really irrelevant.
The greatest cinematic masterpiece of the 21st century is The Whistle Goes Woo's.
You guys are really
I've
dating
never
yourselves right now, which is making me feel pretty.
I
good about
like black
myself.
and white films, okay?
I don't have a take on these movies. I just know of them and
You
understand
have
their
enough of a
position
take
in
to
the
berate
cultural
me on
zeitgeist.
it. You have enough of a take to berate me on it. So clearly you have some
Next you're gonna
take.
tell me you've never seen Citizen Kane.
Dude, I'm not. Apparently, I'm not a big cinematic movie guy like you guys. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Shoot me.
Now, the chat's throwing out movies. Godfather for Holka.
Yeah, Godfather.
my
Joe, have you seen
God.
Godfather?
Yes.
Have you seen Godfather? Prove it.
Yeah, prove it. Hey,
Prove it.
tell us all your favorite scenes from the
Yeah,
Godfather.
tell us your favorite scene from Godfather.
Not today, guys. Like you're gonna literally make me.
Is
Stare
your
at this.
favorite?
Joe goes, what's your favorite scene from The Godfather? Say hello to my little friend.
It's when the Godfather refuses to swap off Alvin Kamara.
Joe, you got a Kamara TD.
Cool.
That's what the chat
75% of the field just moved. That's great.
I thought that's the one thing you're sweating. I'm trying to be supportive.
I mean, not really sweating a lot. Had a good 1 p.m. slate because it was basically my hedge on my things that actually mattered. So Kamara's up to 18. Perfect. He's almost to what? Ahmed at running back. He's almost to Salvin Ottman. We're almost there, boys. We're almost there. We have Melvin Gordon's ahead of us, J.D. McKissick, David Johnson.
The whistleblower really just took the lead on something.
Of course he did. The whistleblower. I mean,
he's in first place. He's in first place.
Whistleblower. Like, look, I mean, did I want Brandon Adams to be single-handedly pulled out of poverty by winning this contest? Yes. Do I want to?
Go ahead. Sorry.
I'm a runaway train. Go for it.
There's people out there that will make an argument that this team was sharp because it won. There's a lot of people that would probably in this final that would tell you that this team was sharp because it won. And I strongly, strongly disagree. Did Pete leave?
I do think, Ridley at 7% was a good play, but that's about it. It's a pretty chalky fucking Edmonds at 1%. Are you kidding me?
Well,
did I lose everybody?
No, I'm here.
Hello? I just came back. I thought you guys were doing a bit. I saw the look in your eye and they're like, let's not talk when Peter comes back. But maybe I'm just paranoid. Say something.
Something.
Nothing. This team was too sharp for us, man. That's all I had to say.
If I can't imagine, I don't want to win anything if it doesn't have Dermot Smythe on the team. True. Dermot Smythe winning someone 2.5.
Dermot Smythe?
What is it?
Durham?
I'm assuming it's Durham. You've just invented an M.
Yeah, it's
Durham?
Confirmed Durham Smythe.
But like Bull Durham, one of Joe's favorite movies.
Joe, have you seen Bull Durham?
No, dude. Apparently I'm not a movie guy.
Not even that old Nuke Lelouch. Oh my goodness.
I'm gonna message Patrick Laird after this slate is over and let him know to tell Durham that someone won $2.5 million in the lineup.
Hurts converts a 4th and 8. This is just good for football fans.
It's great for football watching this guy.
Leone, are you sweating anything right now? You played one team, right? To this week?
I haven't. Yeah, I played one team and then our team. I ended up playing some FanDuel teams, but that went terrible. Oh God, Hurts fumbles. He picks up his own fumble. He throws it down the field. He connects the guy and he gets out of bounds.
Play-by-play Leone is one of my favorite versions of Leone on the Tilt Space.
I preferred the play-by-play when we won a lot of money, but that one was okay, I guess.
Woo!
Does anyone know what our bankroll is at? Someone asked me that on my stream today, and I had no idea.
God, what's your bankroll at?
Well, we've lost a lot of money in the last 4 or 5 weeks, correct?
Guys, we're not even min cashing that team in the main event.
Oh, we haven't been min cashing that for like hours. Feels like the minutes feel like hours. You look at these whistleblower lineups.
Let's just say the bankroll isn't as high as it once was. Hurts drops back to pass.
I want
to let in the pocket, unloads incomplete.
I just want to let people know how the sausage gets made. So we had talked about kind of, pulling things back, being a little more conservative with our bankroll. And then the second Leone goes into the lobby on like Tuesdays, like, so we putting 3 into the $1,500 millionaire. And we're all like, yup. So like that's so good, talk about being like really reserved and conservative. Yeah. So who knows? We're probably like maxing out the Thunderdome next week. I don't know.
I've heard worse ideas. Look, we're still playing with house money, guys. I will say, has anyone asked about the super contest?
No, we don't talk about that anymore, Mike.
Corbs? I'm texting Corbs right now to ask if he submitted our picks this week.
Hurts completes the full jump. He gets out of bounds. Come on, Jalen. Don't ruin it on the chat with me, please. Okay, let me experience it my own.
Someone just asked how the super contest is. So
I'm going to ask Corbs, did you submit our picks?
We've got to be pretty close to the cash line in that, though, like realistically.
I think that's the thing about it. It is fairly top heavy, but even getting a min cash would be pretty sick, I think, for our bankroll.
I would love a min cash in the super contest. All right, guys. From the 32, Hurts and shotgun. Limited rush. They don't blitz. He steps up. He throws the ball away. 10 seconds left. I know everyone's on pins and needles. This is a big deal. It's a big deal, everybody. We should have played Zach Ertz, guys. That's another old that's doing well. You know what? Zach Ertz might not get a lot of volume, but he's got a lot of efficiency. 2 catches for a nice 69 yards.
I can't wait for you to do play-by-play on It's a Wonderful Life next week. George Bailey, he's about to jump from the bridge. Oh, no.
Here comes Clarence.
Not drunk enough for this.
Okay. 31 yard line. 10 seconds left. Hurts drops back, takes the snap and shotgun, steps up. He throws a prayer down the middle of the field. It's a jump ball. It's incomplete, but there's 2 seconds left. So we get another crack at it and some more play-by-play from Leone.
Base continues live after the break. Joe, you and your girl, you should have a date night. You do a lot of work.
Oh, that reminds me. I'm gonna build a fucking Showdown team. That's the only thing I can do right today.
Wow. Hey.
Joe, will you take some victory laps from last week?
Yes.
We didn't even talk
We
about
haven't
it.
was that literally last Sunday?
No, we don't even talk about it. I actually had someone chirp me saying that I
the
did too many victory
Buffalo
laps. I had too many victory laps. So this week.
Someone
so.
chirped you for too many victory laps?
Correct. So I'm done talking
Didn't
about it.
you do one tweet?
I did a video with a very cool thumbnail where I was surprised and there was a number on it and people were upset.
Wait,
Hurts, back to pass. He steps up. He throws. It's a Hail Mary. Back of the end zone. The ball's tipped. It falls harmlessly incomplete. And the Arizona Cardinals
I don't even know who
moved to
plays
8 and
tonight. Who
6.
plays tonight? Cleveland.
What does that adjective harmlessly mean in this context, Leone?
Harmlessly. No one was around. It was harmless.
I guess it could have been precariously going to the
could have
ground.
been bouncing between hands, and it wasn't. Joe, I believe we get a Giants Cleveland Browns slate, and I think the Giants actually have a chance in the division. Washington loses. If the Giants win, they're tied for first in the division.
Interesting. There's no Stephon Diggs on this slate, though, so I should probably take it off.
Dude, how good is Stephon? Guys, are
Guy's
the
a
Bills going to win
baller.
the Super Bowl? Probably.
I don't know. Maybe
Let's
they'll
see.
play.
The Giants beat Washington twice, so they have the tiebreaker. So the Giants
probably
would
play
be
the Cards
leading
in
division.
the Super Bowl, right?
I mean, you've got kick the field goal Kingsbury. I don't think you're going to make it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I mean,
Leone, as a Bills fan, are you guys like Super Bowl or bust at this point for like enjoying this season, or is a loss to the Chiefs acceptable?
Something that's like both cool and not cool at the same time, given that it's a pandemic, is like there was a huge deal at the airport when the Bills came back, because it's the first time they won the division in literally 25 years. So people are enjoying this. Let's just say that much. This is from video. The Bills. The people were jacked up. We're celebrating the division. But we got to win at least one playoff game. I mean, my goodness. Like, I think they're the second best team in the AFC.
do you guys
I don't
hang a
even know,
banner for
like-
that? Like a divisional banner? Is that a thing?
You-
I respect the teams that just like
goddamn right,
they like
Joe.
they literally only raise banners for championships. It's a thing.
Yeah.
Apparently not.
I mean,
Okay.
when you don't win the division in 25 years, you don't have as strict of rules.
People are calling me salty. I'm actually not that salty right now. I'm
You
just
seem
I'm
a
more
little
salty,
defeated
Joe, than anything when a team like this.
Peter,
is
do you
win
think
everything.
you seem salty?
Like,
I
it's
think
not
so.
like it's just a pinch, where they come over and say, "Would you like a little salt on your dish?" It's just a little drizzly.
Well, someone says I say the word overall a lot. I don't know. Is that something I do?
I haven't noticed that. I mean, for the most part, overall, I haven't noticed that.
Does anyone in the chat want to step up to upload this podcast for me? Because I would prefer not to do that.
Joe,
There's a lot of things
Joe,
in this world I would like to do outside of uploading this podcast after we finish.
Joe, I'll upload the podcast under one condition, that you go and
Anything.
watch It's a Wonderful Life right
I would
now.
go straight there.
Dude, do you guys think I took some shit for this a while ago, but when the Ravens were really down, I said they were a good Super Bowl bet. I want to look at the futures. What are they at to win the Super Bowl right now? I bet it's a hell of a lot better than it was.
What do you guys do? So after something's gone wrong in DFS and you get like this text from your mom that goes like "Woohoo, Cardinals win." What do you what do you do to that one? I never know how to respond to that. I'm like, yeah, okay, woohoo. Yeah,
I got it. You write back, hey mom, why don't you hang a banner about it?
Every time.
The Ravens dropped from 2,500 to 1,800 odds this week to win the Super Bowl. So
Is CEH like hurt bad?
I don't think so. Why?
Someone just said bring out the cart.
Hang on. Breaking news alert. Breaking news. We got a text back from Corbs. I'm going to read it live on air. I asked Corbs, I said, did you submit our picks? He goes,
you didn't even send in the group chat? You guys have like your own like little personal chat going?
Oh yeah, we talk so much shit about you. No, this is the first time I've ever accidentally texted him purposely. This is what he said. Hey, I thought that was a joke. I'm not in town. We are out of the running after last 2 weeks, tied for 27th place. It's winner take all. Top team has 46 points. It's winner take all? Are you kidding me? We put
Are you serious?
$5,000 into a winner take all contest, Joe? Why would
I didn't sign up for this?
What the fuck?
It's a good thing neither of you paid for it.
Paid for it with my pride, Joe, and don't you dismiss that. Don't you demean what that costs and what that means to me.
I just got a DM.
We can own up to the fact that we registered for that, submitted our registration, and only then thereafter found out it was a winner take all.
I just want to let people know, at the risk of getting arrested, I just received a DM that alerted me that I have advanced a single team into the Underdog finals.
Yes.
Please do not arrest me. I just want to share in this moment a site that I happen to be invested in. I hope it's not a conflict of interest that I am in the finals, but it is true. We could have taken our super contest money and invested it in an upstart, but instead we decided to light it on fire for about 4.5 weeks of entertainment on YouTube.
Dude, I'm going to lose in my Underdog finals to a fucking Tony Pollard team. God.
Oh, that's perfect. If only you had stashed Rico Dottle, maybe you would have had a chance.
Should we build a Showdown team for the first time ever on Tilt Space?
I would do anything that will lift your spirits, Joe. We need you to lift your spirits.
So, you're really annoying this week, Joe.
You were just trying to get me to do a victory lap. Now you're telling me I'm annoying? I did the opposite of that. I ignored you.
A victory lap, you're happy. Just say, hey, motherfuckers, I won $59,000 last week. Suck it.
Okay, let's play the 180 Showdown and
I'm in. Literally, I'm not.
crush it.
As you said that, I literally have it up right now. This is the 180. What are we doing? Who's on the slate?
I'm gonna pull up competitors' projections because I don't trust Leone's because he's been drunk all afternoon.
Correct.
Dude, I don't think there were any issues
Sean
with
Corners,
right?
I think there's more sober projections out there for sure.
Just kidding. You can trust Leone's. He has a small army of people adjusting them for him in real time.
We got little elves.
Where working on Can I get a small army like to upload this podcast? I'll take a very small army to upload this podcast.
I told you I'll upload it, but you must live stream yourself watching It's a Wonderful Life to verify that you are in fact watching.
Dude, I'm watching that tonight for sure. I think my wife's bringing home pizza. Dude, I mean, unbelievable.
Dude, you want to do like a It's a Wonderful Life drinking game tonight? It'll just be so lit, man.
Can we build a
yeah,
lineup
dude, I'm in. All right, guys. All right.
Let's make a lineup.
All right, projection relative to ownership. Wayne Gallman Jr. captain.
What?
I hate this already. Wayne Gallman I will not sign off on it.
Okay, let's do a draft. You get first pick, Peter. You can take the captain.
No. Joe gets first pick. We need to lift his spirit.
Yeah, Mr. Eeyore. Go ahead.
That
Do you know who Eeyore is, Joe?
That was the most
Do you
aggressive.
know who Eeyore is, Joe?
Yes.
Who? Prove it.
He's the donkey in that
Okay,
animated movie.
Glad you just called yourself a donkey.
It wouldn't be the first time.
That animated movie.
People like that. People like the self-deprecating.
What's the animated movie? Joe, what's the animated movie?
I have no idea. People confirm.
Oh.
You have to tell us what story, what franchise Eeyore is from.
It's Disney. I know that.
No.
He doesn't know.
Who is the main
I don't want to say it because I think I'm wrong.
You have to say it.
Is it Winnie the Pooh?
No, the chat spoiled it. The chat spoiled it.
I don't have the chat up anymore. I gave up on the chat.
Okay, you got it.
I haven't had the chat up for like 30 minutes. People would prefer you be self-deprecating versus victory laps. I found that out, so I just would prefer to do that to myself. Who's our
what do you
captain?
think?
Joe, you shut your mouth and pick. That's literally what you're supposed to be doing.
Okay, I never pick quarterbacks because I'm not a bitch.
I like it.
So I'm thinking either.
I like the chat. Like the chat. Isn't there this psychological phenomenon with like answering simple questions? Like everyone in the chat is like, Winnie the Pooh. I got one right.
I literally on my mother's life.
Joe,
I don't have the chat up right now.
Focus, buddy. You're up with the first pick before this contest fills.
Leone. Oh wait, hang on. Let me put a dummy lineup in.
I'm entering the lineup. I got it in the 180. I was putting fake pressure on you. We're reserved.
Oh, so
Leone,
there's no
that's
pressure.
how you make good TV. I love it,
dude. I was about to throw.
I
was about to throw CJ
card.
Board, Austin Mack, and S. Carlson in a lineup here, so we got it in.
For the love of all that,
man, this slate is kind of gross, isn't it?
No shit. That's why you pick a contrarian pick like Wayne Gallman. God, it was the best play in the.
Are you okay? Can you calm down for a second?
I'm honestly not in a great place. I don't know if you know this, but I played Cooper Kupp and Denzel Mims.
Trust the process.
Dude,
I wanted to tell you to play Robert Woods. You wouldn't listen to me.
Are you guys opposed to like playing a value at the captain, like a Golden Tate type of thing? Is that dumb?
No, just pick someone. I'm opposed to you not picking.
How big is this contest?
Yeah, it's like 12.
Dude, we want to be unique.
Of
It's
course.
2,000. It's 2,000 people. Golden Tate captain. That's great. So we got to play Colt McCoy. Actually, we don't have to. But we should. We're going to play Colt McCoy. Okay, Peter, your pick.
If Colt McCoy hits his ceiling game, if Golden Tate hits his ceiling game, it's probably going to be backed by Colt McCoy.
That's something I would say. So I'm just making fun of myself. Let me see here.
I mean, at this point, we can afford whoever we want.
Well, then I will put in one Mr. Jarvis Landry into the lineup.
Do you want to? You can pick again. It'll be like a snake draft.
Oh, it's a snake draft, huh?
Yep.
I was actually looking into the correlative properties for Jarvis Landry.
Get us an R value here, bud.
Yeah, so the Jarvis Landry projects very well with his quarterback, Baker Mayfield. I believe if we hit a 95th percentile outcome for Jarvis Landry, it will be on the back of Baker Mayfield.
Corbin just texted me. Hey, guys, we're tied in 27th place for this winner take all.
He's like so nervous right now that like we're pissed.
He goes, the guy texts me picks. I'm not even in town. I didn't put them in. So Corbs is not getting a cut, is what we decided tonight. So that's good to know.
All right.
Tell
Corbs
when the pandemic's over, we're all going to Vegas. I'll buy him, a bottle of Grey Goose at the club, and it'll all be good.
So we have
I'm gonna
Landry.
take Kareem Hunt.
Did we say Baker?
That. Yeah.
Okay. So Kareem Hunt.
So we've got Tate captain. I'm entering the team, Joe, just so you know.
Just so you know, Joe, please don't dupe us, dude. Please don't dupe us.
Out of you.
Please don't dupe us, dude.
So basically play whoever you want is where we're at. Outside of
I definitely did the math wrong. So yeah, anybody.
Did you guys hear that? Lil Jordan Humphrey just scored. Lil Jordan Humphrey.
This is terrible.
Joe, Wayne Gallman.
The only thing we're gonna be able to do is go like a 3-3 with Wayne Gallman. Right?
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, sounds great.
Sounds great, Joe. I don't know
Sounds
what you're so
great. It
pissed
sounds like-
about.
Do you guys want me to get out the crowbar to kind of demonstrate the leverage we're getting on the field?
Holy shit!
I
This
don't
is
think
the
I
type
played a
of team that
3-3
could,
ever.
well, if you're gonna play 3-3, the way to do it is to play Golden Tate at captain.
Yeah, why do I mean, are we allowed to veto the whole Golden State?
No, it's in. Yeah,
All right,
it's in.
so Leone's in.
What's
We'll
done is
make a
done.
different one this time. Snake draft. Leone, who's our captain? This will be on mine
Why would you put me first, Joe? Like,
because
why?
it's a snake draft. I just picked Gallman, so it's oh shit. That means it's my turn again. Snake draft. I don't want to pick the captain twice. I'm not doing that. You're up.
All right. I think Peter should get to go first because he went last time.
Okay.
Are we making a second team? No, let's just do one team. Let's not. The bankroll isn't in. It's bleeding, guys.
I'll just play this one. Me and Pete will split it, and you can take 0%.
No, fuck you. Fine. No, fuck you. Let's go.
Why-
Let's pick another team.
Why are you roping me into splitting what's going to inevitably be just a
Okay,
very
it's my
shitty
team.
lineup?
Help me build a team. All I want to do is build a
Okay.
team so I can not think about anything that just happened.
All right.
I'm entering it for us.
So we're now putting 2 entries in.
Yep. Because of Joe. So just
Um,
think Joe.
Hey, folks, if you're watching this at home, I know sometimes we talk about smart bankroll practices. We
Never
kind of
done
talk
one.
about
Find me
Wait,
talking about bankroll management. I dare you.
you know
doesn't
the
exist.
disclaimer, kids, don't try this at home. What we're about to do not try this at home. Okay. Now let's
pick
build
it.
this lineup.
All right, you get to go first. Who's your captain? And hurry up, because I got pizza to go eat.
I have to pee.
This is go pee, Joe.
No,
Literally
dude.
go pee.
I have to be.
can't-
I have to
No.
be part of this.
I
Oh
feel
my
like
God.
I have to pee because you have to pee.
Oh my God, pick. How hard is it to just say name? There's a
Kareem Hunt,
limited amount of
captain.
options. Oh my God, that's who I was gonna pick. I
You
love you
love
so
Hunt.
much. Mind meld.
Okay, so Leone, back to you.
Okay, let's see if I can do something dumb. Oh, easiest play on the slate, Evan Ingram.
I love that correlation. RB2 with tight end 1 on the oppo. It's so
Yeah.
sick, dude.
It's
So normally, hang on, this needs to be the captain.
this should be we're gonna do an onslaught, Joe. I mean, if you're kind
Joe,
of like
this
I thought we
this-
just
this
made a
lineup-
3-3, and now you're telling me to onslaught.
Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
this one is ripe for the 5-1
Hang on.
picking. I mean, it's big.
Oh, it's so
for a
ripe.
5-1,
Normally, what I would
dude.
do here is
don't mess it up.
I would text Andrea who she likes, but since she's not available, I'm gonna go to the correlations tab and go with Nick Chubb.
Oh,
Okay, yeah, that's an option that
Yeah.
we're gonna enter.
is there a third Cleveland running back we can play while we're at it?
Joe, you get to pick again.
Wait, what?
Onslaught mindset. Pick
Is
again.
Dearness Johnson still on the squad?
Pete, who's our $200
Joe,
play?
you are up. You're up, Joe.
I
You're up,
know.
Joe.
I'm
You're up,
working
Joe.
on
You're
it.
up,
I'm
Joe.
working
You're
on
up,
it.
Joe.
Can we play a Cordero Hodge at $600? You guys in on that one?
Is he active?
I mean, you might want to check on it. I'm
Cordero
using
Hodge.
non-drunk projections right now currently. So.
Right now, ETR is projecting him for 0 points. It seems solid. I mean, at 600, I mean, how bad could it hurt you?
Yeah, I don't know. There's some non-drunk projections out there that I'm monitoring, and they have him for 5 points currently, so he's a pretty good value.
Yeah, he might be playing. I might have. Marvin Hall's inactive.
I'm gonna currently I'm gonna go check some other stuff just to make sure. Wait, you don't make your own projections, Pete?
I do actually.
You tout all these plays, and you're not in the weeds like doing market shares and stuff.
I'm a fraud, man. This is what I do. I steal ideas from other people. I repackage them.
Mhm.
I put like a little spin, just like a little special sauce on them, and I steal them for my own.
Okay, Hodge is in.
Yeah, I think Hodge is a decent play. There's another non-drunk projection that has him about 5 points, so I think he's in play. Pete.
Yeah, I would love, just absolutely love to play a kicker. I'd love to save us some salary. I think Cody Parkey just looks like the absolute nut kicker. I mean, just
Kurt,
what's up?
you know we have 18,000 left in salary now, right?
in
Do
this
you guys hear
economy,
do you guys hear my son losing his absolute mind downstairs?
he needs a father right now. Is what he needs.
All right, I'm gonna go Baker Mayfield.
He needs some Tony Pollard in the flex. That's what he needs. Baker
I'm
Mayfield.
gonna pick Baker.
Okay. So we're good leaving 8,300 on the table here.
Holy shit.
Pay down to be unique. Okay,
You gotta
you know
pay-
what? I'll sacrifice Cody Parkey, despite the fact of believing he's truly the nut play.
Well, I mean, you take the kicker out, you can still play everyone on the slate. So who do you want?
Who's our captain?
Kareem Hunt.
I can't even see the lineup. I don't even know.
We have Kareem Hunt captain, Nick Chubb, Hodge, Mayfield, and Evan Ingram on the Giants side. Currently a 4-1.
Leone?
We already have Baker.
It's your pick, dude. You're the one who fucked up with the kicker. I'm not gonna fix your mistakes.
Right, then just put in Baker.
He's in.
He's
Okay.
in.
Okay, that's fine. I love it. Put in Colt McCoy. If
Are
Evan
you
Ingram's
serious?
dude, if Evan Ingram's gonna get there, you know how he's gonna do it? It's gonna be on the back of Colt McCoy.
Good.
All
God.
right.
Okay.
Whatever.
I'm entering it right now. Are we duping each other? What are we doing?
No, I'm entering
Don't-
it. I've
don't
told you
put-
this like 76
Put this
times.
lineup in twice and charge me for it. Do not do that.
Pete, this is a showdown cram, man. Is the chat
I
still
was
here?
sitting-
I haven't been on the chat in many minutes. Are we still live?
Yeah. And you know what? Viewers haven't even dropped that much. They apparently love us talking about classic movies and just truly horrendous showdown lineups.
Yeah, why are people watching? That's
Go home, people. Go home. But also subscribe and please like the video and please maybe leave a comment and engage with us on all our platforms, including LinkedIn, Pinterest, and Shutterfly.
smash the like button.
People
Don't
are,
just hit it. Don't just click it. Smash.
Joe, how
The
many
like
likes
button.
does this have? This has 92 likes in 4 downvotes. Do you know what that adds up to? That's a net 90 likes. Who are the 4 people who downvoted this? Show yourself. Reveal yourself and tell us why.
Yeah,
I wanna
one's
know
in
why.
chat.
I want to fix it. Whatever we did to hurt your feelings enough to downvote a video on YouTube, I want to know what we did to you.
Pete, I have
Was
a
it
question.
talking? Yeah, go ahead.
Remember that time that you were getting a lot of congratulations on Twitter for a really good play that you didn't play? How did you react to that? Because the same exact thing is happening to me currently. I have 0 of the person in question.
Tell me who the person in question is. I'll tell you exactly how to handle this.
He was a quarterback that might be construed as a running back in some circles. He was very cheap in a game with another running quarterback who was a little bit more expensive.
So you touted Jalen Hurts, and your people are profiting because of that?
Correct. And I'm also
That's-
getting some
that's
tweets
awesome.
about that. So I think that's great for them, not as great for me. But
No. You know what? The one thing is like the first thing I said to Leone, I was like, holy cow, dude, Holka is so on Hurts today. The
Mhm.
dude won't stop talking
Mhm.
about Jalen Hurts. He loves Jalen Hurts. He thinks he's a great play. He said he's going to win people millions of dollars. And I was like, whoa, Joe, I mean, like he's a fine play, but he's not that great of a play. But I mean, henceforth, you will forever be synonymous with Jalen Hurts. And I think that's a
Right.
great thing.
Right. I'm not in the business of taking victory laps because like I'm not kidding. There's multiple people that were really upset with me, so I might just like take a week off and then come back and then just never talk about Jalen Hurts again.
Yeah.
Dude, this guy says the show is too salty for his liking.
Oh, hey,
It's cool. We don't
Well-
need his like. It's all good.
guess what? Maybe put a little pepper in there, kind of balance out your spices, bud. Should we wrap this up?
I mean, you're the host.
Probably, probably, yes, please. For
Joe-
everyone's sake.
Joe, will you go full screen to me?
I can do that.
Actually, no. I want everyone to be able to see Leone and Holka here.
Okay.
Joe, over under when It's a Wonderful Life was made.
I'm so in to watch this movie tonight if Pete uploads the podcast.
I will. I legitimately will upload
But,
the
but
podcast.
first,
I mean,
you have to guess what year.
how
Just real
hard could
quick,
it be?
and
Just
guess the
export
year.
MP3.
I
Upload it.
can I stream this? Is this something that like is like
Holy
functional on a
shit.
streaming
Guess the
process?
year and let Peter take us out.
1862. It's got to be
Okay,
something
Peter,
for the
take
olds.
us out.
You said it was in
Take
black
us
and
out.
white. I guess assume it's 1800s. I
Dude,
don't
they
know.
don't have fucking movies from 1862.
What? It's probably what, like 19. Like if I was to give a realistic guess, it's like mid like 1960s, 1970s. Something. It's old, right? Like super old.
Yeah, that's not super old though, Joe.
What do you mean?
All
That's
right,
like
go, Peter.
it's like
Take us
70
out.
years old.
They didn't make black and white films in the 70s, Joe.
Okay, I mean, don't care.
Go to film class.
I'm just not cultured enough for you guys. Pete, I thought you were bringing the show out.
I'm trying to, but we're also doing a little movie history lesson here. All right. Guys, we really appreciate you tuning in. Back in 1947, George Bailey had so many problems, he was thinking about ending it all. And to be truthful, the Tilt Space has so many problems that we were thinking about ending this show. But it's because of you guys that we come in every single week to do this show. And ultimately, that's the greatest Christmas miracle of all. That week after week after week, we show up. And yes, might there be a little too much salt? Sure. But salt is what some would call the seasoning of life. And for that, we're grateful. We wish you all a Merry Christmas, a Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Holidays, whatever else I need to say as to not offend you. For Michael Leone, for Joseph Holka, for Joseph Campbell in The Hero's Journey, for Peter Overzet, for Line Movement. We'll see you guys next week.